Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're going to be working now on exercise 3C, and this is where you start to really see the power of GIS and that a program like ArcGIS is much more powerful than a mapping program like Google Earth. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to do some statistics, and we're actually going to use some of our data sets to do more than just put pins or markers on a map. Now, a couple of things with this. One, if you look right underneath step 1 here, you'll notice that says if you had problems with the exercises, you can use this project right here. And that is something to keep in mind. Hopefully you were okay with exercise 3A and 3B. But if you did have issues for whatever reason, you can use this health study 2, which is in the health study folder. Now, they don't always do that for you, but a number of times they will try to give you these particular files, especially since you are learning and sometimes you're trying things out and may have done a few extra things here or there. All right. So just a little mention and a heads up to keep an eye out for that. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a new field that will display a change between layers. In other words, a change from year to year. Okay. We can kind of see that there were differences, but now we're going to actually quantify it. Okay, so again, you'll want to make sure that you open up your project, and then here we're going to create a new map to display the percent change. And so in the catalog pane, you're going to right click maps, and you're going to click on a new map. So if we go over here, again, make sure your catalog pane is showing. If it isn't, remember you can always go to view to show it. You're going to right click on maps and you're going to choose new map. Okay, so now we've got Illinois and we've got this thing here just called map. Okay, we're going to click the Illinois tab to switch back. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to name the map Illinois 2, and then we'll switch back to the original map. Okay, so again, you can just kind of click here. There we go. Illinois 2. Okay. And then we're going to click right up here and switch back to our regular map. Okay, so now in the contents pane, you're going to right click 2010 and click copy. And we're going to copy that to the Illinois 2 map. And then we'll name the new layer percent change. So again, you're going to come here. You're going to find your year 2010. You right click, you copy, switch Illinois 2, and we're going to paste. And again, remember it said to name this 2% change. Excuse me. All right. So now you'll notice we're going to go now to the geoprocessing pane, find and open the add field tool and complete the following steps. Okay, so again, we'll head back to ArcGIS. Now, if your geoprocessing tool is not open, there are a few ways you can get to it. If you want, click on this View tab, find Geoprocessing. Okay. Make sure that your Illinois 2 is selected. And in here, it said to find the tool. So you'll click up here and click an Add Field. Then you'll see these different tools. We want this first one right here. And now we've got this particular window, And again, it gives you here what you need to do. For input table, select percent change. For field name, type PERC underscore. That's the underscore, not a dash. That's the underscore. And then change. All right, so let me go back here. So input table, we want percent change. For field name, and be very mindful of uppercase, lowercase. These names can be case sensitive, and I've seen many, many times that's where errors can come in. So again, make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. For field type, select double for double precision, and then leave the other default alone. So here, and we're going to click on, oops, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. It reset it. 1% change, field type is double, and then we're going to leave everything else alone, and we will run. Okay. And this just gives you a way to find some of the tools and things in other ways. Okay. When the process is complete, we're going to open the table for the percent change layer and find the new field, and it should look like this. So let's go take a look. Okay, so I'll right click. I'm going to open up my attribute table. And then you'll need to kind of scroll and look and see where it might have put it. Here's mine, and you can see the null. Yours might be in a slightly different area. Again, if you're having problems with this, you can try searching for the field and taking a look. All right, but there's our percent change. Okay. So now we have this field, and now we need to calculate. Again, a power of a GIS system is it can do these calculations and these statistics for you. So now we need to calculate that percent change. Okay, so let's go ahead and calculate the field value so it doesn't say null anymore. Okay, so let's go to our field, right click on it, and choose calculate field. And again, it's warning you, we are modifying the actual table and the data. Okay, so we're going to, for the field name, we want the Illinois County percent change, and under fields, we want to double click %10 and click the subtraction symbol, then double click %4. Okay, so we want to make sure that this is our percent change. And then we want, for the field name, we want that Illinois County percent change. So we're going to scroll down here. It's not necessarily alphabetical. There's mine. Okay, so now we've got it. And then now we're going to double click 10% under fields. This is very hard to see here. If you point, it will pop it up. But again, that's not always very, that's not always very easy to see. And you'll notice that it's looking just slightly different here. Okay. It just, on mine, it's putting the actual where it's coming from, but you still want it that 10. All right, so that's fine. And then we're going to then click the, oops, sorry. We're going to then click the subtraction symbol, which is right down here, and double click the %4. And notice that the expression box should fill in at the end. It should look something similar to what you see down here. So we should have this minus this. So we go ahead and we double click on our %10. Now we've got that down there. Then we're going to click on the minus, and then we're going to go up here. There's 6. Oh, there's number 4, and there's %4. All right, so now we've got 10 minus 4, and that's how you do a change, right? That's the mathematical way you would do change. A change means difference from one to another. Difference means subtraction, right? And this is just wrapping around on my screen. I can make this bigger. So if that's bothering you, if you'll notice here, I've made it bigger by dragging it like this. So you can do that as well. Okay, so, and notice here it said under fields, make sure you double click. If I just single click, it only selects it. It doesn't actually put it down here. And then anytime it says run the tool, you won't see the word run, but that means click on apply or OK. So we'll go back here and we'll click on OK. And now it's running the tool, and it's hopefully updated. And you'll see here they've given you to show that it's different. So now I gotta go back in here and look around, and there we go. Okay. All right. So now we're going to display a new field. Okay, so we'll go back here. We'll close the attribute table. I'm going to right click on %change and left click on symbology. Again, there are lots of ways to bring this up. Here with the field, you want to change it. Again, they said to your %change. Okay. And sorry, let me do that again. Every time I click to go back and forth to show you the textbook, it always changes my symbology. Okay, there we go. I'm going to pin that. Hopefully that will stay. We're going to unpin that one. All right, so here we go. Got the symbology. Okay, so now we're going to click the advanced symbology option buttons, expand the format labels category, and change the number of decimal places to 1. Okay. So again, we've got our advanced, okay, our format labels, decimal places we want to be 1. Okay. And then you can go back to the primary button, and they recommend a ramp, which means light to dark colors, kind of like that gradation that we've been doing. And you can go ahead and change that as well. And again, we can go back if you want to look like their example. You can come here to the color scheme, and you can choose, I think they have this one. But again, if you have a slightly different color scheme, that's okay. Just always notice that here lighter means lower and darker means higher. Okay. So again, The darker countries had the greater increases. So now you can quickly say, well, why don't we target some programs there? Okay. So let's do some summary statistics now. Also, again, you might want to save since you've gotten up to this point. So then that way, if something happens, you can always close without saving and go back and start again. Okay, so now the first thing it asks us to do is you can either click on the Analysis tab, go through the Analysis Gallery to find this Summary Statistics tool, or you can open up the Geoprocessing pane and search for it just like we searched earlier. The big thing with any of these, again, as sometimes your programs change, is the icons usually don't change as quickly from version to version. But I just wanted to show you this real quick. So if we come up here to our analysis, it says the Analysis Gallery. That's actually this area right here, and you may notice these little buttons, so you can click on them. And anytime you see buttons, okay, and here I can open them all up, click on them. All right, and you should see here we have our summary statistics, which pops open that geoprocessing pane again, now with the summary statistics tool. Okay. So now for the input table, we want that select change layer we've been working with. And for the output table, we're going to maintain the default name. It says you can choose a new one if you want. I would recommend go ahead just for consistency and stick with what is displayed in the textbook. So we've got percent change, and so you'll automatically pop that up. Okay. For the field, we want that number 10. Again, we're still working with our 2010 year, and for statistic type, we're going to do sum. Okay, so again, I'm going to find our, and it'll automatically pop up the sum. There are, again, other things that you can do, but we're doing a summary, so we're going to use the sum. In the second box that appears, we're going to now, we're going to do the number first and then the percent. Oop, let me just fix that. This is why it's always good to reread and reread again and again. Because as I said, these get very tricky and can very quickly lead you down a path that you don't mean to go down. All right, and for the percentage, we're going to do the mean. So again, we are getting into a little bit of math. Who knew? GIS has some math in the background. And again, the mean is very similar in concept to an average. I'm not going to go over the mean right now, but if you'd like to get more into the math behind it, let me know. Okay. And again, that is something if you're a GIS technician, a GIS mapper, a GIS professional, there are all sorts of different names for this career track. You will want a handle on the statistics side as well as the mapping side. All right, so here we're going to look at the total number of cases and the mean or the average. You could do other years as well, so you could keep adding fields here if you wanted to. So if you wanted to do it for year 10 and also do it for year 4, 2004, you could do that as well. For now, we're going to leave the case field parameter blank, and then we're going to run the tool. And again, whenever you're doing this, this one actually says the word run, so that works very well. But like I said, sometimes if you don't see the word run, you can do OK or apply. So we run. Okay. And we've got the output table added to the bottom of the contents pane, and we can open it and take a look at it. So you see it over here. We can open it, and you should be getting something out over here. Okay. So as it says here, what does that really mean? That's what that number really means. All right. So the last main item here for 3C is the concept of an infographic. And this is huge. And please take note, because one of your future homeworks will involve creating an infographic. Okay. Again, it won't be quite as involved as going through this 3A, 3B, 3C, but I will ask you to find a data source, kind of like what you're doing for homework 1. Find a data source, create the map, and then create an infographic presentation. You can actually create infographics without using this particular tool, right? I mean, an infographic is simply a visual way to present data and information, but there are some nice formatting pieces that come along with the infographics tool. So it says on the map tab, click the infographics tool to activate, and click Alexander County at the southern tip of Illinois. And if you look at their little graphic, they're trying to point to it. And again, as we're doing this, you'll want to close. I'm going to close the geoprocessing and the symbology and my table. Okay, and I'm going to kind of scroll, drag, remember with the left mouse button held down, drag up, and we're going to be targeting right in here, which is where, so I'm zooming in a little bit. All right, and so now we're going to locate that infographics tool. And again, it's kind of hard to see, but here is one case where the infographics tool has changed just a little bit. Okay, and so as you can see, this is going to be one area where there is a little bit of a difference, but you can still explore and play with it. So again, we go to the map tool, make your own map, and before I click on infographics, you'll notice that in map tool, I've got my explore. See how this is in blue? And you'll see I've got my little hands so I can drag and all the things we've been used to doing. When you click, don't click on the little arrow, just click up here on the top of the infographics. When you come back down, I don't know if you can see, my mouse now is different. It's not the hand anymore, it's an arrow and this little pie chart graph symbol. Okay, so that's how you know you're in the infographics mode. And as mentioned, we're going to take a look at Alexander County. And again, this is extra stuff that comes from the ArcGIS Online, which is why we connected the two together. And this will look a little different in the textbook from what you're able to see, again, because that's changing. But if I click down here on my county, you're going to see this infographics has popped up. You're going to see that there's lots of neat information here. You can do that slide mode that they talked about, which breaks down the infographic. This is like incredibly cool, and it is a wonderful way to quickly get information about an area. Now, again, you need to know where ArcGIS Online is pulling this data. It pulls it from sources like this census, and also government and local, federal, and state sites. So that is something, and you can take a look at that through ArcGIS Online, but you can play around. Here I've got the key. You can do a demographic profile, and it will vary sometimes on what you can and can't play with, but this is just incredible. And look at all of this in data. You can look, the average household size is 2.11. So again, I can just close out this window and I'm back here. I could click on another. And here we might see in this county, the average is 2.36, rounded up to 2.4. So again, this is kind of the infographic, and you can play around. Like I said, it might look a little different from the textbook, but it's just really, really cool. And like I said, in a future homework, I'm going to ask you to do an infographic activity. Okay, that's it for 3C. Again, if you have questions, always let me know.